Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Thursday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. And does anybody remember the Star Wars movie Rogue One, when they sort of go through the whole backstory of how the Death Star got built? And at the very beginning of the movie, you have that one Imperial officer dude delivered the quote, "We were this close. We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close." That is how we are feeling about Steelers training camp today, ladies and gentlemen. We were this close to making it through Steelers training camp 2025 without any sort of major drama. The whole Aaron Rodgers thing got put way in the rear view mirror. That's in the past. He's here. TJ Watt, he got his extension, no holdout or hold in from him. And through the first about 2 weeks now of training camp, we have been riding smoothly. Couple of injuries, but we have been going smoothly where we thought everyone was all together on the same side, pushing towards the same goal without any sort of gripes or grievances. That wasn't until today Adam Schefter fired up his old X account, and he dropped two bombshell news stories on us earlier this afternoon. We will kick off the show with that here in a matter of moments. If you look at the comment section, we already got Derpy Entertainment in there. He's already sounding off. I see you, Derp. I'll get to you in a minute. Also today, we will talk about, aside from the drama going on at Steelers training camp, what all went on in their final practice today before they get on a flight, I think, tomorrow and go down to Jacksonville for their first preseason game of the season. And then after that, we will get into some of the extra Pittsburgh news stories from today. Pittsburgh Pirates about to begin a 4-game set against the Cincinnati Reds and their old third baseman, now the Reds' third baseman, Ke'Bryan Hayes. And also we have a very happy birthday to celebrate the, quite honestly, greatest athlete in my lifetime of watching Pittsburgh sports. He celebrates his 38th birthday today. We will be sure to recount all of his accolades here later on in the program. First thing is first, if you are new here to the channel, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, feel free to leave a like, share this live stream, and comment in the comment section any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have. I can pop those up on the screen here at a moment's notice. Also, please be sure to go give me a follow on the following social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and X. All of those accounts, the same username, at Steel City SR. And be sure to come back later tonight for another edition of SCSR 60. Like I said, we are going to hop right into the big breaking news of the day, ladies and gentlemen, and that is drama has indeed once again made its way to St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, as Cam Heyward is now apparently a hold-in player at Steelers training camp. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, from Adam Schefter. Let me see if I can find it real quick. What did I do with it? Right here it is. This right here from Adam Schefter earlier today. With little fanfare, Steelers 4-time All-Pro defensive tackle Cameron Heyward hasn't fully participated in practice yet this summer as he awaits a restructured contract that has not gotten done per sources. Heyward is scheduled to make $14.75 million this season, with $13.45 million of that already having been earned as a roster bonus in March. Heyward is seeking a raise in a defensive market that has experienced a reset this offseason. Heyward and the Steelers have addressed this privately, but have not made any progress on any reworked deal. That came out from Adam Schefter about 4 hours ago. And yeah, I'm not surprised that this is happening. I want to be honest, I am a little surprised that it now comes out, because you've had fans, local media, some national media personalities with all the fanfare around the Steelers and their additions. Not a single person knew that this was indeed a legit hold-in by Cam Heyward. Going over what has gone on in practices up until this point, we heard, all right, Cam's taking a vet day along with TJ Watt and whoever else. Cam is off to the side doing this. you didn't really hear anything of Cam doing any team drills, but you just thought that was, hey, 36, 37-year-old Cam Heyward, he's going to, not do too extreme, too extraneous workouts and stuff like that coming into, training camp this year. You'd rather him take a slow progression, a slow uptick until you get him to the regular season. So really nobody reported on this, and that was really, really surprising that came out today. Also, Heyward, he is due another nearly $13 million in unguaranteed roster bonuses in March of next year's. The Steelers could decide to bring him, a little bit of money here in 2025 as a signing bonus to at least help his cash total for this season look better. And I did take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen, the cash total here. Looking at Spotrac here, Cam Heyward, his current contract, which, hey, we got to remember with him asking for more money, he just signed a contract extension last year. In terms of total value of defensive line contracts out there, guess where Cam Heyward is slotted in at? All the way down, tied for the 48th highest value contract in the NFL right now at $29 million. That ties him with Dalvin Tomlinson of the Arizona Cardinals, and it puts him just behind a former Steeler defensive lineman, Javon Hargrave, who I forgot was up in Minnesota. He's making $30 million on his contract, the total value of that deal. So looking here as well, the average salary right now for Cam Heyward, he is, where is he? Cam is right here. $14.5 million in average salary this upcoming year for Cam. That puts him in the company of Hargrave, Javon Kinlaw, Dalvin Tomlinson, Arik Armstead. So no surprise that Cam wants to, get a pay raise out of there. Couple other things here on Cam. I think he deserves the money. I don't blame him whatsoever for asking for money. Is it possible for me to say that I understand both sides of the situation here? Cam signed an extension last year with the Steelers, coming off of what he described as a broken groin in the 2023 season. Signed an extension last year to, seal his future with the Steelers here. Comes back, has an all-pro year last year. Now he wants just a little bit more on top of it for the production he put out there last year. I understand. You're one of the best defensive linemen in the league. Easily top 15 D lineman. You want to be up in that echelon when it comes to pay. However, also understand the Steelers side of this, saying, hey, you put pen to paper on this contract last year. It's up to you to, play it out here. So, it's unfortunate that you had to go through what all you went through with your groin and all that. But, hey, you signed for this amount of money. You got to play for it. So, yeah, I understand, Cam, all-pro, still elite, has a good case for getting some more cash thrown his way. But, yeah, also it's not – he's got one more year after this. He is not the Steelers are not required to earn him a pay raise. But if I had to guess how this is going to play out, I just went over the contract values there. Cam all the way down here in that company. Make him a little bit happier. I don't think he has any guarantees or not too much guarantees heading into the last year of his deal. So I understand him wanting to get more money because, down year from him, Steelers can cut him and move on. He wants to get as much money as he can while he is still guaranteed a roster spot on this team. If the Steelers, they still have, I think, $35 million in cap space or somewhere in that neighborhood. If you're Cam, if you're the Steelers, make Cam happy. You have no idea when he is going to fall off of that proverbial cliff as a player getting up there in age. Slide him somewhere in the $5 to $7 million range more to him this year, and you can then boost him from the average salary he's getting from $14.5 million. You can put him up here maybe somewhere around the $17 to $20 million range. That'll put him with another defensive tackle like him who's been in the league for a while, Vita Vea, Jonathan Allen from the Minnesota Vikings, Ed Oliver from the Buffalo Bills, Christian Barmore from the Patriots, Gregory Rousseau from the Buffalo Bills, Kenny Clark from the Green Bay Packers. So if I had to expect Cam to get a pay raise here, Dexter Lawrence, he's around that area as well. Expect Cam to maybe get a little bit of a pay bump, but I think this is something that is going to carry out for a while, in my opinion. Also, if you're reading the headline there at the bottom of the screen, Chris Boswell, he too, under the radar, seeking a new contract. Adam Schefter came back with that a couple hours after the Heyward situation was broken by him. In addition to Cam Heyward, All-Pro kicker Chris Boswell privately has been seeking a new contract from the Steelers. Despite being voted first-team All-Pro, Boswell was the AFC North's lowest paid kicker last year. 3 years ago, Boswell signed a contract that tied him with Justin Tucker as the NFL's highest paid kicker, but that market also has been reset the past 2 years. Bos, I think he's making $5 million this year. Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe he is making $6.4 million. So Bos is going to want to get up in that area. And honestly, don't blame him either. He's 34 years old. Yeah, he's getting up there, for kicker age. I understand him wanting, maybe one final contract before he slowly fades off into retirement. And also, I think you and I, we aren't going to BS each other here. Boswell, easily top 3 kicker in the NFL, and we all know that he ain't 3. I think it's between him and Brandon Aubrey down there in Dallas. So, Boz, understand him wanting to, get paid big kicker money once again, but also the Steelers, at least going back to the age of Kevin Colbert, the Steelers always let go of guys a year too soon than a year too late. And let's not forget the Steelers. I'm going to hype this guy up a little bit just because he's a Pitt guy. They got Ben Sauls as well here for training camp, former Pitt kicker, one of the best collegiate kickers. Maybe that's a succession plan to Chris Boswell. I don't know. But yeah, real shocking news today that both Cam Heyward and Chris Boswell, within hours of each other, reports come out that they are both seeking new contracts. And we all had in the back of our mind, at least like, all right, when are we going to extend Boz? Cam here. We knew nothing, really about Cam. We were all, that came out of left field a little bit, but I understand all sides in this. I understand the players wanting their money back into their careers. They want as much money as they possibly can in case they fall off a cliff and the team decides to cut them without, any sort of responsibility for paying them money after the fact. And the Steelers, they still got cap space, like I said, $35 million, but they don't have to pay them if they don't want them. If I had to sit here and speculate what would go on right now, I would say that if the regular season was to start tomorrow, game 1, week 1 of the season in New York against the Jets, both Boswell and Heyward would be out there. And just wrapping up, talking about this, one thing else I will say, $35 million, somewhere between $25, $35 million for the Steelers in cap space. If I had to guess how this is going to play out, Steelers, maybe you'll see them wait another week or two, wait for some training camp rosters around the league to start trimming away. They go out. I don't necessarily know if they're going to go get another wide receiver. But if they want to add, a wide receiver, another safety, something like that, they can go out there, slide maybe around $5 million that player's way, and then they'll use, the rest of the salary cap space, or at least a good bit of it, to settle this situation with Cam, settle this with Boswell. If it is $35 million, like I said, take $5 to $7 million, or around $5 million, go get yourself a wide receiver or a safety. That brings you to 30. Slide $7-8 million Cam Heyward's way. That'll bring you down to $22 million in cap space, and then give Boz an extension, get his contract all nice and done. Steelers, they like to carry a little bit of cap space with them into the season, probably around the $10 million range. So we will see how these play out. Not going to panic about them yet, but we will see moving forward. Like I said, I did see the comments out there. Going to go to them right now. What is going on, Derpy? I saw your couple comments as soon as I went live. I want him cut. I can't stand this crap. Trying to win a Super Bowl and you have old man crying about money. Well, I mean, he does see the writing on the wall that, he's getting up there in age and he just wants a little bit extra guaranteed money this year in case for some reason, goes off the edge and then the Steelers, cut him. He wants to get some of the money from the second year. He's got 2 years left. He wants to get a little bit of money from the second year this year. That way, in case his play does fall off and the Steelers want to cut him, he will be kissing goodbye to less money than what he currently would be. Wants to just shift a little bit of that money up there, get a little bit more guaranteed, a little bit extra cheddar, and he'll be happy. So we'll see how that played out. Trade Cam to the Panthers. Not sure how that makes sense for either side there, Derpy. Tired of sitting out for money crap. I mean, well, we at least avoided TJ. And, even though it's Cam and Boz, I will say, looking at the Cam Heyward situation, it is at least not Micah Parsons or Trey Hendrickson, one of those situations from around the NFL. It's at least not that. So, I understand the frustration from fans. I understand, everyone's, feelings in this matter, from the player to the organization to the fans. No one is wrong. No one is right. I understand it'll come to it. I think a happy end for all sides, quite honestly. Also, trading Cam to the Panthers, not going to happen. I don't think the Panthers want that. I don't even think the Steelers want that, because the Panthers, still one of the, lesser teams in the NFL. I don't think they're going to part way with, a young player or a draft pick for just 1 to 2 years of Cam Heyward. And the Steelers, judging by all the moves that they've made so far this offseason, they are all in. Also in the comment section here, THP, players have all the leverage to a degree. Well, this is almost an exact opposite situation of what happened this time last year. You remember Cam Heyward 2 years ago was coming off a season where, tore his groin, had to have surgery on that, was out for a good chunk of the year. And even when he came back, he wasn't himself. And he didn't have really any leverage then in signing a contract extension. So he puts pen to paper just to, secure that he has a future here with the Steelers for decent money. Then the defensive line market resets. Cam has a good year, all-pro, comes back. I want all-pro level money now. Now the ball is in Cam's court. He has all the leverage, so he's going to get a little bit of some extra cheddar thrown his way. Honestly, I think that's where we are going to. That's where we're heading. Also, THP here. Rams dominated Cowboys practice. Cowboys can best easy teams, but won't best good ones. 9 wins coming. I did not see that they had a joint practice today. I'll put it this: I did see, however, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tennessee Titans. They had a joint practice today, and them boys got fighting. So I did see that, but not the Rams Cowboys practice. You have to tell me. Oh, yesterday. Okay, maybe I, unknowingly scrolled past something. How'd Pickens do? I think I might have seen, now I'm remembering, a video of Pickens making some one-handed grab in the end zone and getting both feet down. So, THP, buy into the George Pickens hype. Put all of your stock into him, and then watch as soon as you put that stock in himself implode. I will say that. So that is what all is going on right now in the Cam Heyward, Chris Boswell situation. Pickens did well. Rams D-line dominated. Yeah, I could, predict that. The Rams have an underrated front seven, and the Cowboys offensive line, it's still pretty young and inexperienced. You got two second-year guys and a rookie and Tyler Booker. And the Cowboys DB got lit up. Oh no, Trayvon Diggs, DaRon Bland. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on here, away from the drama at St. Vincent College. Let's now slowly make our way down to the field and what happened today at Steelers training camp. As for, coming out of that Cam Heyward, Chris Boswell contract situation, I'm sure we would have liked to have heard what Mike Tomlin's opinion and thoughts on the matter were after practice today. We did not get that. Instead, we got Tomlin speaking before practice today, and we now know, ladies and gentlemen, what players will be sitting out for Saturday night's first preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And as expected, there will be no Aaron Rodgers, no DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Isaac Seumalo, Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay, Deshaun Elliott, Patrick Queen, TJ Watt, Cam Heyward, Nick Herbig, or Chris Boswell. So pretty much every starter that will be out on JetLife Stadium turf week 1. A majority of the starters week 1, they will be sitting out on Saturday night. No surprise there. Also, no surprise, those were just players sitting out. Nothing wrong with them. They just won't play. Players who will be sitting out for injury reasons: Corey Trice Jr., Alex Highsmith, Calvin Austin III, and Dante Kent. Those 4 out with injuries. So expect to see a lot of rookies. Expect to see a lot of second, third, fourth, fifth stringers. And it will probably be an ugly night for the Steelers, in my opinion. At least we will get to see, like I said, some highly anticipated rookies. Tomlin didn't mention there. Will Howard also will miss with injury, of course. But hey, we will at least hopefully get to see Derek Harmon. He was practicing again today following missing yesterday's practice. Y.A. Black is having a strong camp. Jack Sawyer is lighting it up. Caleb Johnson ran over someone today at practice. But the reason why I say it might be an ugly game for the Steelers, the Jaguars, they apparently will be going with their starters on Saturday night, including Travis Hunter, who will play both ways as a wide receiver and corner. A couple other notes from Tomlin's press conference before practice began today. Back to speaking of Will Howard, he will not play. He will not play on Saturday. But Tomlin, when asked if Will Howard could play in the preseason, said certainly. So over the past 24, 48 hours, we all have been down in the dumps. We don't get to see a fan favorite, hyped up rookie in Will Howard. Let's pump the brakes here. We might see him that final game of the preseason. Who knows? Also, Tomlin, before practice today, said that Peyton Wilson on Saturday night with Patrick Queen out, he will wear the green dot and be the signal caller out there on the defense. He'll be working with a bunch of second stringers and rookies. So solid test for him. See if he can, be the field general out there that we think he can be. Both punters, Cameron Johnston and Cortlis Waitman, they are in a hell of a punting battle at St. Vincent College right now from all reports. They both will play on Saturday. Tomlin looking forward to that battle. And another thing Tomlin said here, he is not looking, for too much out of either side. He just wants to see some basic stuff from his players, cleanliness in plays, executing motions, no bad penalties, constant communication on defense. So when we come back here on Monday, and if the Steelers lost, let's, analyze whether the game was a success or not by seeing how, if they look like up and down the depth chart if they all look like a professional unit. That is what Tomlin is looking forward to. The final thing that Mike Tomlin had today to speak of in his press conference before practice, the Steelers making a roster move. They signed quarterback Logan Woodside and guard Andrus Peat. They also waived long snapper Tucker Addington and guard Nick Broker. Andrus Peat, a very interesting addition to me, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not remember him, or if you do remember him, his name kind of rings a little bit of a bell, but you don't remember exactly who he is. That name, I thought he was, somewhere on some team. I didn't know he was a free agent. Andrus Peat, former guard and left tackle for the New Orleans Saints, 6'7", 315, a former first overall, a former first-round draft pick back in 2015, 31 years old, 9 seasons with the Saints, and then was last year with the Las Vegas Raiders. I love this addition. We're talking about kind of like how you and ITHP, we were mentioning the Cowboys and their inexperienced offensive line. Steelers, very inexperienced offensive line. Third-year left tackle, finally playing left tackle for the first time. Veteran guard, sure, in Isaac Seumalo, but second-year center and right guard, and pretty much a rookie right tackle. Andrus Peat, left side of the offensive line player, took 1,500 career snaps at left tackle in his career. He had 715 left tackle snaps as early as 2 years ago in 2023. Plays left guard and left tackle. Isaac Seumalo, getting up there in age, last year of his deal. You want someone experienced and ready to go in for him and not miss a beat. Pete can do that. Or if Broderick Jones, which, hey, credit to Jones. After a rough first week of training camp, he has been better here in week 2. Pete can also slide into left tackle if once, real game stuff goes on, Broderick falls. I would not mind that too. So Andrus Peat, welcome to the Steelers. Love that addition here today. Moving on here of what all went down at Steelers training camp practice today. Beanie Bishop, before practice began, bulletin board material he gave to the New York Jets ahead of their matchup week 1. If I'm Beanie, I would not be talking because, before I start, throwing shade at the team, my team, current team is playing week 1, I better damn make sure that my spot on the roster is solidified. It is not by any stretch of the imagination. When talking about corner Brandon Echols, who I think is guaranteed a roster spot on this team, said that, it's good to have Brandon Echols bringing the energy. He also is now on a winning organization, unlike the Jets, who did not do much of that. So, Beanie, you're saying the right thing just at the wrong time, and you're the wrong person for it to be coming from, quite honestly. Also, we mentioned Cam Heyward and him not doing much of anything at training camp, being a hold-in with his contract situation. He was off to the side today, sitting out training camp. He wasn't, doing in uniform doing drills by his own. He was in street clothes today with TJ Watt. Both of those guys took a day off. Moving ahead, by the way, after practice today, Cam, he declined interview requests and took to Instagram saying, when you take things for granted, the things you are granted get taken. So some interesting cryptic messages there from Cam Heyward, taking a little bit of notes out of the book of TJ Watt and his contract negotiations from this offseason. You remember TJ posting the video, throwing up the deuces. Back to the 2 new additions, Logan Woodside and Andrus Peat. Woodside out there with the quarterbacks wearing number 6. He's filling in for Will Howard out there as the 4th QB for these training camp drills. Has a bit of a history, playing on Arthur Smith's teams. Believe he has been, a emergency third quarterback, practice squad quarterback for some of Arthur Smith teams. So no surprise that he was the quarterback who got added. Also, I will say, just a little side note, going over, who the Steelers waived and, what, going over the two players that the Steelers waived. Glad that they didn't, do anything with Will Howard and his status. He's just, out for the time being. No long-term addition or a long-term decision was made on him, so that's good. Also, Andres Pete, we talked about him in his left tackle, left guard versatility. He was out there with the guards with the left tackles, in individual drills today. So it looks like he will be maybe playing in place of Calvin Anderson, who's been out for the past week or so. Also down on the field today, Cole Holcomb, he made his return to practice after missing yesterday's practice. Also back down on the St. Vincent College turf, a Steelers legend returning to the hollow grounds of Latrobe, Pennsylvania, Mel Blount, down there on the field, met with Aaron Rodgers before practice began, and this was at some point midway through practice. Blount and Deshaun Elliott right there. Cool to see the constant flow of alumni coming through St. Vincent College this year. I'm not sure, going back, I've always kept a somewhat close eye on training camp and all of that in years past, but it kind of just feels like we've seen more alumni roll through this year than before. I mean, tell me if I'm being mistaken here, but I just thought it's kind of cool that we're seeing more and more players coming back and buying into the hype of this team this year. After all the individual drills wrapped up and stretching and all that was done, of course, practice officially began today with the 7 shots drill. Everyone in pads. Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr. back out there on the practice field as the starting corners. Jaylen Warren got the offense on the board first. A handoff, punching it in up the middle for a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers on the second play. He was pressured by Derek Harmon up the middle. He has been in the backfield quite a lot here in training camp. Rodgers was looking for Scotty Miller, but that throw was off target. That made it 1-1. Rodgers, again, got pressured, scrambled outside the pocket. Jack Sawyer was chasing him, but he found Brandon Johnson for a touchdown that made it 2-1 offense. Mason Rudolph and the second team goes in there. Rudolph looking for Lance McCutcheon, but Juan Thornhill with great coverage. Y.A. Black also got the tip as well. Wouldn't you know it? Y.A. Black tipping a ball at the line of scrimmage. Tell me if you heard that one before here in this training camp. Rudolph, again, runs a bootleg, finds Evan Hall open in the flat for the touchdown, 3-2 offense. The offense ends up winning 7 shots today. Skylar Thompson comes in, hits undrafted free agent Keyshawn Williams for the TD, making it 4-2. The defense, however, they did get one back at the end. Aaron Rodgers looking for Scotty Miller in the back of the end zone. The ball is caught, but the signal from the judges there was that it was incomplete. So 7 shots goes to the offense again. We've been starting to see, after defense dominated 7 shots drill in the first week of Latrobe, you started to see the pendulum swing back and forth between the offense and defense in 7 shots. That's cool to see. Then we got into some one-on-one drills, DBs versus wide receivers. Daryl Porter Jr., the other Porter Jr., that is a defensive back on this training camp roster, out there wearing oven mitts for at least before the drill. I thought that was kind of weird, but hey, also hilarious. From what I saw out there, DBs, they got cooked quite a bit from the wide receivers in one-on-ones today. They ended up doing some push-ups after the fact. Terrell Austin, defensive coordinator, and defensive back coach Gerald Alexander, they joined in as well doing the push-ups. Seems like the wide receivers, they have been getting the better of the DBs here in the past couple days of one-on-ones. And we got into a little bit of 11-on-11 work. Caleb Johnson, excited to see him coming up here on Saturday night, and he reminded us why we are so excited to see the third-round pick out of Iowa. Heard that he ran over Miles Killebrew today in 11-on-11, so he is ready to start hitting some different color jerseys coming up here in 2 days' time. Unfortunately, in 11-on-11 today, the story wasn't really about, who did well. It was a couple players going down with injury. Fortunately, second year in a row, this guy has taken a licking in training camp. Roman Wilson, he was taken off the field, and the trainer, they were working on his groin, hip flexor area. You hate so much, Steeler fan, right now, hearing about a player dealing with a groin injury. Seems to be a constant recurring theme with players of this team. But good news, wasn't anything serious. We hope, at least. Wilson was back out there not too long after that, took part in the 7-on-7 drills as well. The other player who got knocked out of 11-on-11 today at practice with injury, DeMarvin Leal, he was getting attention on the sideline, was getting his neck and shoulder area checked out by the trainer. Mike Tomlin came over briefly to check in on him. Hopefully that isn't anything too serious. Leal, if you remember, missed a majority of last season with a neck injury, and right now he is fighting for his spot on the Steelers roster. Remember, on the first initial depth chart, as one of the backup outside linebackers, he was competing with Jack Sawyer for a spot. So hopefully Leal will be all right and will be ready to rock and roll on Saturday. Got into a little bit of one-on-one defensive line versus offensive line drills today. And even though they brought in some backup and Andres Pete, again, love that addition, the tackles standing up this week. Troy Fautanu, another good practice, has made a number of good blocks, both in pass protection and in some running plays. And Broderick Jones, after it seems like, every day during practice you were seeing, Jones got beat bad by Highsmith here, gave up an inside pressure from Highsmith here. Nick Herbig got him on a spin move. You didn't hear really any of that this week from Broderick Jones. Had an excellent pickup on a stunt drill and shut down and locked up Nick Herbig on one attempt. So a solid bounce back week from Broderick Jones. Will it continue into Saturday? We hope so. And then to wrap up practice here today, St. Vincent College, 2-minute drill. The second team offense taking the field against the second team defense. 2-minute drills went down. No word on if Aaron Rodgers was a part of the 2-minute drill today after back-to-back practices of him throwing interceptions. Not his fault for the most part, but he did not he did not participate in the 2-minute drill portion of practice here today. First, our second team offense led by Mason Rudolph during their 2-minute drill. They failed to score. Fourth down, Beanie Bishop with a PBU. Also, once again, tell me if you heard this before, Y.A. Black with a batted down pass during the 2, making sure he gets those tree trunks that he calls arms up in the passing lanes to knock down the ball. Hopefully we get to see that in some live action coming up here in 2 days. Then Skylar Thompson and his third team unit, they came in. They capitalized on their 2-minute drill. He was targeting Rock Taylor a good bit on that drive, and Lou Nichols, one of the backup running backs, capped it off with a 4-yard touchdown. So that ended Steelers training camp practice, the final one for the week. They now will be off tomorrow, heading down to Jacksonville, and then Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen, we made it. Saturday night, some Steelers football will be on our TV screens. Won't be, any of the starters. You won't see any star players of the Steelers. Maybe, Peyton Wilson or I don't know, Mason Rudolph, if you're still attached to him from him taking the team to the playoffs a couple years ago. But exciting times coming up around the corner. First preseason game coming up Saturday. The team finishing off with a strong training camp practice today. Let's go back here to the comments section real quick. THP again. I heard bad things about the Bengals. Steelers will finish ahead. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too in depth on what's going on in Bengals training camp right now. I think the bigger story out of there is the hold-in that Trey Hendrickson is doing for that team. We'll have to wait and see. Actually, maybe we'll get to see it tonight. I'm not sure how you would be able to find this, but we do have some preseason football on tonight. Coming up here at 7 p.m. tonight, NFL Network. You have the Ravens playing at home against the Colts, and also at 7:30, I see no feed for this game, but the Cincinnati Bengals and Philadelphia Eagles, they will be playing in a preseason matchup. That'd be a hell of a regular season game right there, but we will see what happens in those two games, especially two division rivals of the Steelers in action tonight, and then the Browns and Carolina Panthers, they are playing tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That game too on NFL Network. Before I continue on here, ladies and gentlemen, 6 of you in here right now, welcome to the stream. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Up to 486 subscribers on the channel. Also, leave a like, share this live stream, and comment in the comment section any thoughts, questions, or opinions you may have. One question that we do have here, Pittsburgh fan 412, didn't Cam just sign an extension? Yes, he did. There, Pittsburgh fan. He did indeed just sign an extension last year, but, you know, different circumstances now. Cam, when he signed that extension last year, was coming off a year where he pretty much tore up his groin, had a rough season, signed an extension for what the team was offering. He didn't have too much leverage. Now this year, defensive line market resets. Cam, coming off an all-pro season, wants a little bit of extra cheddar before, you know, he just wants a little bit extra money this year because next year, in the last year of his deal, I don't think he has too much guarantees. So he just wants a little bit extra money this year to protect himself in case his play falls off and the Steelers, you know, cut him and he doesn't get to see any of the money in the last year of this deal. So we will see how everything plays out. Pittsburgh fan, I said this at the beginning of the program. I'm not going to worry about this or the Chris Boswell situation right now. Steelers still got a good bit of cap space. I do think, you know, and it was kind of unlikely that they would do this. Now that you have to most likely slide Cam Heyward a good chunk of some of the money you saved and also give Chris Boswell an extension, you're not going to go big game hunting for one of the big players available out there. Terry McLaurin, the pipe dream of Micah Parsons joining this defense. And that's what they just were, pipe dreams. Now, with your $25 to $35 million in cap space, you would still have enough money to, you know, go bargain bin shopping for a wide receiver or a safety that gets cut from another team, or and then, you know, you get to go get 1 or 2 extra players, slide a couple $1 million Cam's way, make him happy, give Boswell a little bit of a pay raise to make him the highest paid kicker in football, and you'll probably still have some money left over. So Steelers have a lot of money to play with. These two guys, Boswell and Heyward, they just want a little bit of it this year. We'll see how everything plays out, but not worried about it. Seems like all sides, you know, they'll get something done, and nobody's feelings will be hurt over this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got through a Steelers training camp update, and we also talked about Cam Heyward and Chris Boswell holding in. Well, at least Cam holding in. Boswell still out there doing his thing, but Cam being a hold-in participant. Again, it just really kind of irks me and is weird that we're now 2 weeks into training camp at least, and now all of a sudden we're learning about, oh, hey, by the way, Cam doing his own thing off to the side. It's not just him, protecting his body. It's him, seeking a little bit of pay raise. Like, nobody went up to Cam and asked him, like, hey, just checking in. You haven't really taken part in the team portions of practice here. You good? You healthy? Anything going on with your contract? Nothing like that? That just weirds me out. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, mainly Steelers focused first half of the show here today. Now we're going to get into some of the extra Pittsburgh news stories of the day. Let's go into the hockey world, ladies and gentlemen. It's rare that we go into hockey talk really at this point of the year, but today we have a good reason to do so. Where do I begin when talking about this man right here? Happy birthday to the GOAT. Right here on my shirt, you see it. GOAT 87. Sidney Crosby celebrating his 38th birthday today. The easiest birthday besides your own that you will ever have to remember. 8/7/87. Sid the Kid, still the GOAT, honestly. I mean, he's still a top 10 center in the league. He might not be as good as he once was, but damn, he is still sharp as an tack, and when he wants to turn back the clock in any given game, he will do so. I mean, just look at the accomplishments over here. You will see why he is the GOAT and why he is the most recognizable, most outstanding athlete in Pittsburgh sports that I have watched and covered in my lifetime. 3-time Stanley Cup champion, 2-time NHL MVP, 2 times Rocket Richard winner, 2-time Conn Smythe winner, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. He's won a World Cup. He's won the Four Nations face-off. He's won an IIHF championship, scored the golden goal for his country in Penguins franchise record in games played and assists. Just a once-in-a-generation player that we are so lucky and so fortunate to see him on a day-in, day-out basis here in the city of Pittsburgh. He loves this place, and we love him. A match made in heaven, Sidney Crosby, over the past 20 years now that he has been in Pittsburgh. He also is just behind Jaromir Jagr for most points since he was born. So glad to have Sid still here in the Berg. When he broke into the league, he was immediate superstar, scored 102 points. Last year, age 37, still kicking that, still churning out that type of production, 91 points. And happy birthday, Sid, 38 years old. I think we can all agree that if he really wants to, we will still be talking about Sidney Crosby playing hockey for the Pittsburgh Penguins 3 years ago, or 3 years from now, if we really want to. He's the Tom Brady of hockey. He could play till he's 45 if he wants. Happy birthday, Sid. We love you sincerely. All of Pittsburgh, happy birthday. Pittsburgh fan 412, happy birthday, Sid. Can't say enough good stuff about that guy. I could be on here for another hour talking about Sid and all the accolades and all the joy and great memories he has brought to you, me, and every single Pittsburgh Penguins fan. Speaking of birthdays, we got one more coming up here in a moment. A second Pittsburgh Penguins news story of the day, kinda. Congratulations also to former Penguin forward Jeff Carter. Came out this morning with an announcement video saying that his junior number that he wore with the Sioux Greyhounds in the OHL will be retired by the club. Congratulations to another very recognizable and legendary NHL forward from my kingdom. So congratulations, big Jeff Carter there. And the second birthday that I was talking about, back into football here, happy birthday to Alex Highsmith. He celebrates a birthday with Sidney Crosby. Almost, I wonder, in Pittsburgh sports, if he reads what's out there and he wonders if his birthday gets, shadowed a little bit by quite possibly the biggest sports personality in the history of Pittsburgh sharing a birthday with him. Wonder if, he jokes around with that kind of stuff. Sticking with football here, ladies and gentlemen, couple of stories that kind of relate to the Steelers, but they're worth mentioning. We talk about on here all the time how the Steelers, this is an all-in year for them, but also how they are set up for the future and are in a good spot to trade up possibly for their quarterback of the future next year. One quarterback who will not be available next year for the Steelers to take, it has been confirmed, Arch Manning, quarterback for Texas, finally going to start there for the Longhorns this year. Archie Manning, his grandfather came out and said on some sort of Texas podcast today that he will be at Texas for 2026. So as we all expected, Arch Manning will return to Texas for at least one more year beyond this year. No surprise there. 2027 draft class might be headlined by him. One extra football story here for the day. Have no idea how this relates to the Steelers, but hey, you never know what kind of players on the team use this stuff. Remember the whole selling salts now banned from NFL sideline stories from earlier this week or late last week? Turns out, misprint by the NFL. Players will still be allowed to use smelling salts on the sideline. The only difference is that it is now BYOS. Bring your own salt. No team provided smelling salts or any other type of stuff like that will be provided by the team anymore. It is now the players who will have to provide for themselves getting smelling salts. Players like George Kittle and Minkah Fitzpatrick, I'm sure, are very happy at that news. Moving from baseball here, or moving from football here, I should say, into baseball. Nothing really cooking for the Pittsburgh Pirates today. They played yesterday afternoon, so coming into today's live stream, this is now the first time I'm mentioning the Pirates 55 minutes into stream. They will be throwing out first pitch of a 4-game set against the Cincinnati Reds coming up here in about 20 minutes. Lineup for tonight's ball game: Spencer Horwitz leading off at first base, Nick Gonzalez at second base, Brian Reynolds in the 3-hole in right field, O'Neal Cruz clean up tonight as the center fielder, Andrew McCutchen the designated hitter, Jack Sawinski in left field tonight batting sixth, Jared Triolo at shortstop in the 7-hole, Henry Davis the catcher tonight batting eighth, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third base rounding out the order. Happy Paul Skeens Day to all of you who celebrate. He is on the bump tonight going up against the Cincinnati Reds and Ke'Bryan Hayes. Saw a video out there. Ke'Bryan Hayes, for the first time in a week, he is back out there taking ground ball reps at third base at PNC Park. I assume he will be in the lineup tonight. And wouldn't it just be the most Pirate thing ever? I know there's it's highly unlikely that this happens. Wouldn't it be something if, all of a sudden Hayes goes on a tear inside PNC Park tonight, or in this series in general, maybe cracks a couple of home runs, hits one off of Paul Skeens tonight? I hope I'm not jinxing it, but it would just be a very Pirate thing for that to happen, right? Speaking of the Pirates and their series against the Reds, Skeens pitching tonight will probably go 6 or 7 innings of 1-run ball. Unfortunately, the offense behind him will not give him any sort of run support, so he'll get tagged with a no decision or a loss, most likely. Mitch Keller, he will be on the bump tomorrow night for the Bucs. 6:40 start time for a Friday night game. A to-be-announced pitcher for Saturday's game. It is a 6:40 start time again, Saturday night, game 3 of this series. TBA, Johan Oviedo. That would have been his spot in the rotation, but he has since been sent down. You got to wonder who will be filling out that spot. You could, looking at the bullpen in the rotation right now, you do not have any sort of reliever in there capable of starting except for Carmen Majinski. So maybe maybe you put Majinski in there as a bullpen game, or maybe you send down someone, and could it be finally Bubba Chandler's time? Who knows? Be a smart business move by the Pirates, home crowd, to get Bubba in there for his big league debut. We'll see. And then Mike Burrows, he will wrap up the series on Sunday, a 1:35 game. Then looking for a bounce back performance following yesterday's debacle or 2 nights ago from Mike Burrows. One final extra Pittsburgh news story for the day that I have here coming into the stream tonight. Speaking of the Pirates and their smart business moves, safe to say Ben Cherington, his smart decisions are few and far between. And already one of the trades that he made at the deadline, one of the acquisitions that he made, came back and bit him in the ass. Outfielder Brian Sanchez, who the Pirates just acquired last week as a part of the David Bednar deal. He was placed on the 60-day IL for the Bradenton Marauders, along with a couple other minor league players today. His season effectively over with 1 month to go in the minor league regular season. So good job on that, Ben. Real proud of you and the business decisions and the trades that you've made over the years. Let's go to the comments section real quick. Flacco, welcome back. Mo Money, send me help. They deserve it, but damn, bad timing. Yeah, it is weird timing for the Cam Heyward, Chris Boswell situations. But, again, I'm not going to panic. Not panicking yet. Steelers still got a good bit of cap space. They're going to make a couple of, little investments into maybe another wide receiver or another safety, and then whatever money's left over, I think they might slide a little bit Cam's way, give Boz maybe a 2-year extension, something like that, make him the highest paid kicker in football, which, you're not going to need to give him that much of a pay raise to do so. So, bad timing, weird timing, very weird that we're just finding out about it now. They deserve it. I understand all sides, and hopefully this will all come to a peaceful resolution here. Maybe not so much within the next week, but, before the regular season games begin here in less than a month. Or I guess a little over a month. One extra thing, actually, ladies and gentlemen, moving back into baseball here for a second. I had this popped up here on my screen, but I forgot to read it until now. This was right as I was going live for the stream here tonight. David Bednar. We just mentioned him as we just mentioned a player that the Bucs got back in the trade for him, going on the shelf for the rest of the year. Bednar, within the past hour or so, releasing this photo and this statement on Instagram. Thank you, Pittsburgh. Honored to have worn the black and gold in the city I love. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to play for the Pirates and will always cherish my time with the organization. It's hard to put into words what the city of Pittsburgh means to me and my family, to my teammates and coaches over the past 5 years. Thank you for sticking with me through the highs and lows. To the fans, the grounds crew, ushers, PNC Park staff, and everyone behind the scenes, thank you for all you do. You are what makes the city of Pittsburgh so special. The friendships and memories created with the team will last forever. The Berg will always be home. Indeed, it will, Bednar. The Pittsburgh will forever be your home. It is absolute BS that you got traded out of here in the fashion that you did, and in what we got back for you. Just getting a AAA catcher and a couple of lottery ticket low A prospects for you was an absolutely horrendous return. And also you finding out that you got traded on social media, and that no one within the organization had the bright idea of, hey, before this, breaks here, maybe we should give David a call, and for all he's did for us over the years, let him know, from us, ourselves, that he's been, find out in, some crappy ass fashion. So Sucks you got traded, but wish you nothing but the best, David. Thank you for all that you did. And here's to you returning after the lockout in 2027. You got 1 year after this year up there in New York. Come on back home afterwards. Back to Flacco in the comments section here. I guess no scary Terry, wishful thinking. Yeah, very wishful thinking. Him and Micah Parsons do not see that coming anytime soon. No, it was always, a pipe dream from the start there, Flacco. But hey, if we can get, maybe a Noah Brown type wide receiver who got cut before the regular season last year, or some other addition to the defensive line or defensive back room. Hell, I know you just signed Andres Pete today, and I like that addition. Maybe you get another offensive lineman. They still got some money to both pay these guys what they want and bring in another extra player or two. Not sweating it quite yet. Standing ovation for David Bednar, indeed. And the final comment from Flacco here, hit the like button and sub up. We need y'all. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for subscribing thus far. Going to take one last scroll here through Twitter, see if we have any new news before signing off for the night. Seeing everyone on Twitter right now reposting the David Bednar thank you press release. Looking if there's anything else here. Sucks to see left tackle for the LA Chargers, Rashawn Slater, got carted off the field today. Unfortunate for him. First Cam, now Boz want new deals, seeing a picture of the two of them together. Crazy that those two stories came out of nowhere today. Honestly, that was like, what? So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, not seeing too much else here. So, want to thank you for joining me here tonight. That'll do it. One final time, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Like, share, and comment on this live stream. Be sure to give me a follow on all the other social media platforms that the Steel City Sports Report is on, Facebook, Instagram, and X at Steel City SR, and come back later tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60. Thank you. We'll be back here tomorrow night, 5:30, around the same time. We'll wrap up what little news will probably come tomorrow, honestly. The Steelers, they'll be flying down to Jacksonville, probably be in Jacksonville come this time tomorrow. But, hey, we'll come back here, talk about any new information on the Cam Heyward, Chris Boswell situations that we come across. We'll talk about what the Pirates do here tonight and any other news that happens to pop up probably out of nowhere. All fun. We'll be back here tomorrow for probably a short stream. But until then, thank you all for tuning in once again. Have a good rest of your Thursday night. Peace out. Have a good one. See you back here tomorrow.